I'd show you how to either dispose, gift, or upgrade just junk Gunpla chilling in your corner. I decided to build, or technically use, a Gundam that kind of holds a dear place in my heart. It was the first ever Gundam that I built in my first ever Gundam event with my friend Victor. I decided to showcase this one and cement it in history in a little bit of a cooler fashion. So today I have some stuff on my desk and I'm going to show you guys step by step how to make a straight up easy ass diorama. So don't forget to like and subscribe. By the way, this might, or the P Bandai video that I have cooked, might have been the first video to release since hitting 1K. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you everybody for helping me get to 1,000 subscribers. Little old me is finally becoming somebody, right? The supplies to do all this is actually fairly cheap. So let's get into it, okay? Thank you. Alright guys, going forward, this is pretty much a small example of just some of the stuff that you can use. This is what I would call an excessive amount of items that you can actually use. But I do want to go ahead and point out these apple barrel paints here. They're 50 cents and sometimes 25 and 75 cents and $1 at Walmart. They're acrylic paint and they're very useful. They come clutch. This is a Creatix Colors Airbrush Brown, I believe. Is this the airbrush? Yes, airbrush. These are usually like 10 or 15. Going forward, I guess obviously we have the Gunpla, so you're gonna want to use like some kind of old Gunpla or maybe like an old figurine of something you don't mind damaging and just kind of weathering and stuff like that. You're gonna definitely need some hot glue and a hot glue gun of some sort, because it's just gonna make things super easy and way less complicated than things need to be. This is some XPS foam that I've actually ordered from Amazon. Normally it comes in a thicker layer, but I've actually kind of cut it. This is how it originally looked, and this is just accidentally how I cut it. I got this kind of texture just by cutting it in half completely. And so yeah, this is what we ended up with. This is what I plan to use for our base and our background. I'm gonna cut that up and show you guys what we do. Lastly, I have a well, not lastly, but I have a silicone gel mold here. So this is gonna be for the epoxy. This is what we're gonna put the base and everything in, and then put the epoxy and just kind of let it chill and cast. Over here is some black and gray paint. Now, black and gray paint is really good for some kind of dioramas, depending on, like, I'd say the elements that you're trying to go for. But white and gray paint is really good after painting on rocks and stuff, and I'm gonna show you what I mean. But it adds for a really cool dry brush effect that makes everything look pretty surreal. Over here I have some fake shrubs that I've acquired from Hobby Lobby and some like fake autumn dust. And in my desk I have some fake light brown and dark brown sand. So these are usually like about $5–6 at Hobby Lobby. Same for these paints, these are $6 at Hobby Lobby. The XPS foam is about 10 or 15 for about 4 or 5 slices, and this right here was $20 I think. Hobby Lobby also has really cool hot glue guns for like $4 and $7 and $11, I believe. Lastly, I'm actually using some epoxy, some pretty old epoxy as a matter of fact, and I think I got this from Amazon when I was trying to do some keycaps back in my days. So I'm gonna finish up the last of this, pretty much making this. Alright guys, so I got my hot glue gun cooking right now. It's heating up, and essentially I've got an extra stick of glue. We're really not gonna need too much, but what we are gonna go ahead and do is get this knife ready, because I found out that the best way to do this is to probably glue my flat ends down and save me some time. And since it's already carved up, I can just go at it again, and I'll show you guys a pretty cool, easy pattern to do. And then what we can do is we will use this for the base in some sense, and I'll just kind of trim it out so that way we can fit our quota. So I'll just have to do a little bit of measurement. I'm not really too sure how. Yeah, probably gonna be like here. Yeah, give or take, and then we'll just fill this little crack, because there's a hole here. We'll go ahead and fill that with like some vines or something whenever we put stuff down. Or I have some fake pebbles. I'll probably throw some pebbles along the way, and then we'll go from there, because I definitely don't want that being where the epoxy is gonna go through. So we'll work that out. All right, so I'll be right back. I'm gonna go ahead and glue these together, and then we'll start the cutting process. Alright guys, so I went ahead and cut off some edges from here to get this little bit of filler pieces here. So I think what I want to do first is to just safely glue this stuff together. Put a little bit of glue on the bottom of this. Patch it down so it's got its nice little spot. Give it the loving it deserves there. Let it dry off. Okay, cool. And then this piece I was thinking about doing underneath. So I'm just gonna put a little bit, and then we'll put that there, like right there. That'll do. Top's over here. Oh, got a little bit on my thumb. That's not too bad. That's gonna work. So now we gotta go ahead and get these two pieces together. The easiest way I say to do it is just do a quick line and try to get a square outline with your glue, right? Best you can, because you want it to be as, you know, connected. Just try to get your center pretty well focused. Bam. All right, so it doesn't matter which way, top, bottom, just find your center. Go ahead and align it. Give it a nice little press. Presto bammo, you got yourself a thicker piece of rock. And now keep in mind, we do have this seam line here, but with a well enough cut process and everything, you can actually make it all blend in. So that's pretty cool. We're gonna let that be. Let me go ahead and let everything dry for a sec. All right, so I went ahead and filled in a little bit more instead of it just being a whole curve there. So I'm hoping that I can be able to tie these two together pretty well. Hexagon job something. So going forward, now what I want to do is show you guys my best cutting process. Normally I would recommend a box cutter if you got one because of how narrow the blade is, but your best shot is to just make a couple of slices through, right? Make them at least 3 to 4 centimeters deep, doesn't really matter. And then watch your fingers as you do this, you guys. Just go back, spread everything out, be pretty sparse with it, right? Kind of do a couple of curves on the edge. There you go. It's okay if you have too much of like a flat ridge instead of no cuts on it, because that can be stuff like this. As you go in, just kind of scribble that out, right? Bam. Now you have yourself a little edge piece, right? So yeah, what you're gonna wanna do after this is kind of make sure you go in. And so let's see, I got a couple of slits here. So I'm gonna go ahead and just dig this out. Make sure I got around it. Okay. Bam. And so now I'm gonna repeat that process, but I'm gonna repeat it all over and we should have better results. All right guys, so here we are. Here's our back side and here's our front side. I feel like we did an adequate amount of work over here, especially for having all this excess stuff over here. Zan, if you're watching this video, I did use this to create ridges, so thank you very, very much for making that. So going forward, we have our base. We'll go ahead and mess with that a little bit more, but now I wanted to show you guys, Amazon has these scraper tools. You can get like a 5 or a 10 pack of these for I think like $5-10. They're very, very useful. What I'm gonna go ahead and use it for is I'm seeing that there's a lot of flat ridges, like a little bit excessive for what I like. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is just kind of run this over via the side flat part of it, so that way I can kind of get these ridges looking a little bit more like actual mountains instead of less like foam, especially come time whenever I gotta paint them. So the more that they're split, the more that they look like a solo rock. What you wanna try to do to help you do this is imagine you're creating a earth, like a flat earth, and look at it from a side point of view and try to look at how your mountains look, right? Imagine that they're tinier little mountains, and then whenever you get to a flat part and you look away, you suddenly have this instead of what we had just a little while ago. Now for this side, I just went ahead and used something kind of with a rivet, and I just kind of went over it like in a side over and over again, and then I kind of went with the tool and just successively in random spots, because as you can see I did this over and over again and it got us a pretty decent looking backside. And then also I did it for over here and it's looking pretty good. So just gonna go ahead and let's see, get down here. Looks too much over here, that's cool. Just go at a ridge with it, cross that over, scoop this little piece out. There you go. And then this looks pretty flat. Get rid of that, give it a new divide on some Transformers Linkin Park stuff. Going forward, looks pretty good. It's looking good to me. What do you guys think? Doesn't look too flat, doesn't look too shabby. Now I do see some spots where I can see the flat side of the back. So I'm just gonna go ahead and mess that up a little bit, right? I'm not gonna totally go through it because I don't wanna bust a hole, but I do wanna make it look pretty cool. So there we go. All right, sweet. Okay, guys, so what I'm doing right now is I'm actually taking some old molding or sculpt-to-mold that I have here, and I think this is, gosh, damn, this is the orange stuff from Hobby Lobby, but this is like the casting clay. It pretty much just mixes with water, and essentially you get a hardened kind of stone material. So what I'm doing right now is I'm breaking this all up so that way I can get like mini, how do I say, mini rocks. So what I'm gonna do is kind of get all these little mini boulders here, and I'm gonna put some water in here and some brown water and probably some, I'm sorry, brown water, some brown paint, and probably a little bit of some gray paint, and then just see what we can do as far as getting some little rock mountains and trying to make it not so obvious that these were something else, right? And then we're gonna go ahead and start painting everything. I got my brushes soaking right now and getting ready, and then we'll just kind of go over and show you guys how I paint. I usually let everything dry for about 10 to 20 minutes because the acrylic paint that you get from Walmart is actually pretty fire, pretty durable. Sorry, you guys can't even see what I'm doing. But going forward, it's just a matter of breaking tiny little pieces. I don't know if I'll be able to get that one, so I'm gonna go ahead and just cut it off. But I can get this, there you go. All right. So far, I think we got an adequate amount of tiny little boulders. So yeah, what we'll do is we'll put a little bit of water in here later, and we'll go ahead and wash those. But for now, put this all to the side. We got our rocks. All right, guys, so going forward, I'm just gonna do the simple part and put the darker part of my rock mountain on. I've got some of the acrylics airbrush paint. I know it's airbrush, but it also works really well. And then I'm using some cheapo brushes from Dollar Tree. So yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and start slabbing some of this on, start going all over it, and just make sure I get the crevice, and we're gonna make sure we get everything nice and neat, okay? All right, guys, so I've pretty much got everything painted. Everything's front and back for right now. You see that little bit of divide there? That's actually a pretty good thing because I'm gonna show you something right now. Here's my base. Here's what's gonna be like what the Gundam and the rocks and everything are gonna stand on. The epoxy. Now I'm gonna be honest, the bottom didn't paint for shit, but that's perfectly fine. You folks are never gonna see the bottom. This shit's supposed to stand on your desk. So going forward, check this out. You see I have two different colors of brown here. I have a lighter and a darker. But that darker is actually what I was using. Oh, I lied to you. I'm sorry. That darker is this one right here, right? So what I'm gonna actually do is, since we did this as our base, we're just gonna put a little bit, okay? Just dab your brush, right? But don't fully go painting over it like a dumbass. Just kind of wipe some of this paint off over here, right? And this is important because what you're doing is you're drying off your brush, so you can actually get a technique called the dry brush effect. So now that we have this over, I'm just gonna run this over certain parts, doing my thing. Again, we're just gonna clean this off best we can. Get some of this light paint here. And it's good to just make a little pile over here. So dry off, doing our thing. And we're just gonna go over in certain motions, certain little areas, right? And what this is over time, this is actually gonna give your rocks a different color. So it's gonna make for a different aged and seasoned kind of rock. So going forward, I think I'm putting a little bit too much here. No, we're good. We're solid, we're ace. Just make sure you divide it and then cover it up, but not too much because otherwise it's kind of like pointless. Going forward, here we go. Just gonna put a little bit. I'm gonna go a little bit heavy in some areas so we can get that just different color appearation or separation. Sorry, I can't English right now. All right, so I'm putting all this excess paint over here. Again, drying my brush, and I think actually you can kind of see it on camera better, although here's what our backside's looking like. You see how we have this different bit of color variation? That's pretty much just because what we're doing is we're getting the paintbrush, we're putting it in a lighter brown, brushing some of it off, right? Then we're just doing some dry brush strokes right over here. Just to add for some color variation, just smear it in, do the thing. Tap it back over here if you need to. Chip it. And you can do this with we're gonna go ahead and repeat this process with the light brown and with like this khaki kind of color, and then we're gonna finish it off with just a little bit of some white just to add for some aging. But yeah, going forward, pretty much you just dip your brush as you see me doing, put the excess over here, try to get a good dry brush, and then bam, hit your areas, do what you gotta do, and then just pretty much repeat the process. Now, as you can see, there's already a different bit of color variation going on there. Looks like I got a huge ass chocolate chip brownie in my hands. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and repeat the process. Hopefully this will have dried, and then I'm gonna go ahead and glue this stuff together, and then we'll begin the weathering process on the Gundam. And I'll show you how to easily do some damage and weathering stuff. So this is what I have glued together. So it's looking a little bit rough right now, but keep in mind we are gonna go ahead and glue all over this, smear it, and put some sand over it. I've got our light and our dark sand. We're gonna go ahead and do kind of a mixture of the two. This is my mixture of 50% Mod Podge and 50% water. No, I'm sorry, 75% Mod Podge, 25% water, because you don't want to over thin it. I always keep a little bit, and so essentially what I'm fixing to go ahead and do is put this down. I'm gonna use some Q-tips, and I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of smear it over, and then lightly go ahead and do my sand. I'll probably wait for this to dry a little bit more, and then we'll go ahead and do that. But I also have some varnish and some other washes that I'm gonna go ahead and do, but I just kind of want to wait till this gets drier so that way it can have a better effect and not like blend in and get soaked, you know what I mean? So there is a bit of a process to this, and usually you might want to wait, but because of my schedule there, you know, I'm kind of pressed for the time that I am pressed for. So I'll go ahead and cut this here momentarily, and then I'm gonna go ahead and start applying my sand. So this is goodbye to this face. All right, check this out. So this is the new shape of it, and I actually used some of the carvings that I cut off to go ahead and just kind of add for extra rocks. Now I'm gonna go ahead and trim that one up and clean it up as well, so that way it can look kind of like a ridge as this one does. But yeah, I'm really liking this so far. I think I'll go ahead and put glue, plus it minimizes how much glue I actually gotta put. And then from here I can just dap glue over the top and then put some sand. And yeah, I think the diorama will be pretty good as far as all painting, carvings, and elemental effects for now. Tomorrow I'll be working on the vines, and then we'll go ahead and tackle some weathering. Let's go ahead and do an update. All right, and at this stage, pretty much all I'm doing, you guys, sorry for the mess. What I'm doing is using some of the Mod Podge and getting some of the shrubs down here and kind of gluing it, making my path, right? So I already got the bottom layer down there. I'm just trying to continue something up here, see what I can do. Just something different instead of always having them like separated. So I'll put that off to the side. Honestly, I don't need much, so there we go. Just put this here, take the excess, and then just press it down, right? Hold it down for a little bit. Let the Mod Podge do its thing. Cool. You might have a little excess, but that's cool. Don't try to pull from it too much, just let it stay there, because that pop-out effect is also needed for you as well. So let's let this dry and we'll keep going. Cool, should be enough. I'm gonna smear that around. Get all this wild brush here, bam. Throw it on there. Just spread it. Keep patting it down. And there you go. Push down over here. Looks like we got a little excess here, so to cover that, I'm gonna put some more glue, like an excessive amount, so we can put a nice patch over that, kind of like this. Too much, too much. But that'll do right there. Nice. Cool. There we go. I like that. I'm gonna go ahead and leave that little bit of a trail.
let that dry. That looks pretty good to me. And then we'll put some blots elsewhere.
All right, you guys, so going forward, here's what I'm using for my weathering. I'm using this and a couple of mixed Vallejo stuff. Over here we have rust texture, oiled earth, and spilled petroleum. So I'm using these to just kind of mix a line and add for dirt where I can. I went ahead and been working on my legs all day, and I think they look pretty decent. I mean, I'm definitely gonna do a little bit more as far as like actually damaging the kit. For now, I'm just trying to do all the weathering so that way whenever I damage, wherever I have a streak and it's clean plastic, you know, I can go over and I can actually color it. So going forward, yeah, this is the last that we're gonna see of this Age kit, looking in decent condition. I did go ahead and put a top coat over it, so everything's kind of looking actually pretty mint right now. I like the colors and how it's popping. But of course, all good things gotta come to an end. So I did decide I'm gonna go ahead and cut the flight pack up and just kind of put it damaged like it crashed into the wall. And then for the other weapons that it comes with, I'm gonna actually save that and use that for just personal use. So throughout the day, I'm just gonna be weathering on this, and then I'll get them all dirty, and then we'll do an update on the video on how I actually damage and fully give my kit some battle damage. Alright guys, so here's a little bit of an update as far as like how everything looks after being weathered a bit. This is kind of like the best that I could go ahead and do for right now. Now the arms are undamaged, they've just been weathered. So is the torso and everything. This is just kind of how it looks before I go ahead and destroy it. I gotta say, this has been a pretty fun process because as hard as you work to build these kits, you know, sometimes destroying them and breaking them down actually builds a better piece of art. And the funny story about this kit is I actually went to my first ever Gundam build night, and I built this kit with a partner with completely no instructions, no anything. And between me and him, we were able to get everything fixed. I think we came like 3rd place technically because of when we finished, but for the most part, to come in top 3, you know, while building a kit I've never ever messed with, felt pretty cool. But as you can see, I did some of the battle damage down here. We did a lot of scarring, and also added some bullet holes. Going forward, what I want to go ahead and do is try to add a little bit more rust right here to the back sides, like the joints and stuff, I guess where the leg would bend. So like right there, I want to make that a little bit more rustic. And then, yeah, what I'm using right now, see, did I pull it up here? I'm actually using an electric drill that I got from Amazon. So I have this plugged in below my desk, and I have a little box here that I'm using because this stuff does make a mess, so I like to clean everything up. And essentially, yeah, what I'm gonna go ahead and do is now do a little bit of damage to everything over here. So I'm gonna take the gun off and go ahead and work at these arms, but here's what they look like now, excuse me. So here's what our arms are appearing to be, right? And then we're gonna go ahead and give them some damage. So I'm gonna go ahead and damage the whole entire kit and then put it together. And then from there, I'm probably gonna go ahead and re-weather it in certain areas that got whitened, like this right here. You can tell it's all damaged, but everywhere it's white is where I did some cutting and stuff. So I gotta go re-back and weather it. I probably should have did it before, but this gave me a better idea of like what kind of scene I was gonna do. And I went ahead and took the pictures, and it's looking awesome, guys. We'll be back. Alright guys, here's the finished results. I'll try not to move the camera too much and be too loud, but I'd like to say we did a pretty damn good job. Looking at it up close, it's got a lot of overpaint, but for the most part, I'll get the hang of weathering. I'm just doing, alright guys, so going forward, like I said, battle damage, pretty good at it, but not the best at weathering. But I mean, it all comes with practice, so I think the diorama is where I shine, right? But with the Gunpla and the diorama, maybe together we could have some results, right? So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is let everything just kind of dry for a bit, and then actually go take a little break, and then going forward, it's time for the epoxy portion. I just gotta think of how I'm gonna make the ocean. All right guys, so here we are. We have our diorama in the mold. Whoops. We have our diorama in the mold. We have our model kit chilling. I just knocked it over. That's okay. It's good. Its footing is still where it needs to be. And all I'm doing at this point is going in with another coat of epoxy. But to get it that color blue, all I did, I dropped like 7 drops of this stuff. This is ocean blue, but it looks like it actually kind of worked out in my favor. I'm liking like the dark structure to it, but I like that it has a clear top coat. So I'm just gonna scrape all this in here. Mama didn't raise no bitch, so we gotta use it all. All right, guys. Cool. So there we go. That is the last of my epoxy. That's the last of everything. I'm writing everything on this. So going forward, we're just gonna let this dry. I think it's gonna take about 24 hours. I do have a UV resin dryer, but I'm not really trying to bust it out because I have 2 broken bulbs. So going forward, I guess now we're just gonna let the homie chill in time. And when he's sealed, I was thinking we go ahead and add the shield and then this the flight pack. So stay tuned for that. All right, guys, here is our final finished product. I'll try to put this out as far as I can. Here we are. We have the flight pack kind of installed at the top, just to kind of add for ruin and wreckage, and then going down, we have our lovely Gunpla. So you can see it's got a lot of textures and a lot of stuff going on here. The biggest part that I'm proud of, right, I didn't give the back too much attention because I just kind of didn't really want to, especially where this is going to be on my desk. I'm never going to see it. But I like this one because I did really good, because I got feedback from people telling me that color separation was a really big thing here. And I think I got a lot of my autumn colors and my bright colors, and then just I did really good with the mud and everything. So I'm gonna go ahead and talk about, we're gonna look at this, and I know I missed a lot of steps and I didn't get to show you guys, but I want you to watch my other videos because I have step-by-step diorama videos. They're on my channel. I've made about 2 or 3 of them by now. So if you wanna go over and check them out, I have the how to rock and how to maintain calmness when building Gunpla. And it's basically teaching you how to make a mountain. I do break this down, we do paint. Taking a clear look up close, I think I did really well with giving the Gundam the damage. I did show you guys that. I didn't show you the step-by-step process. It's kind of messy, and with me kind of doing this and having a lot of life changes, I'm trying to be very quick with everything that I do. But for the most part, it sits pretty high. Here's my hand compared to the whole diorama, so I think I did really well, especially for like an autumn base and not being so bright and everything. Damn well, right? Let's take a look at the fighter pack. Right on, so having a look over here, I actually just used some clear runner pieces that I've had in the past, and I went ahead and drilled a hole into the bottom of the flight pack and then kind of made a sharpened edge so I could stick it into the front back wall. So yeah, I did apply some 𝕤𝕦𝕡 cement to both ends and everything, and I think it's sitting up well, but I added a nice amount of like faded paint, the mud, just to indicate wreckage. There's some rust there too, and some regular oil texture from the overall mountain. Looking at this thing from top to bottom, I'm genuinely proud of its results. Everything that it brings, everything that it has, absolutely proud of it. You know what I mean? 10 out of 10 would recommend giving this a try and having some fun yourself, right? So once again, guys, thank you very much for watching my diorama video. It was really cool to be back, and it was really nice to build this. I was actually in better spirits just at home, and better performance at my job by doing this. I guess I just felt back to normal or something like that. I felt like something was missing. I haven't really been building in a while, and as you guys can see, sadly I have not been able to upload in an entire month. I got sick and I got injured, but we're back. There was a lot of stuff that I had to deal with, but going forward, I'm very happy to even be here. I'm very happy to be alive, and, well, go Gunpla, okay? Thank you guys for watching. I hope that you make one of these yourself, and if you do, please tag me on Facebook, alright? The name is Plamo-Fudo on everything. Twitter, Facebook, I don't know, Discord, Reddit, everything. But yeah, feel free to tag me. I'd love to see your work and to see what you guys are capable of, okay? Again, this has been Plamo-Fudo. I'm gonna go ahead and head out. Thank you guys for watching another awesome video of mine. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And, you know the saying, man. Go Gunpla, right? Peace.